I want to show you a couple of things that happened this weekend. One was Caleb Williams shows up at the Combine, Stugotz, and everyone says, even though there was some testing he was unwilling to do, everyone says that he was very nice to everybody, that he stayed longer than everybody, that he said goodbye and thanked all of the workers who put the Combine together. But here is his initial interaction as he clears his throat and sits down to take questions from the media at the Combine. Here's the initial interaction.
Good morning, everybody.
Are you afraid to compete? How do you respond to people saying that you're worried to be compared side by side with your peers in medicals, measurements, and workouts? Are you afraid to be measured against those guys one-on-one? Is that why you're not doing things?
No, not doing things. It was a decision by me and my team, my family, and it comes down to that.
An aggressive start there. How's everybody doing? Are you afraid to compete?
Getting right to it, man. No softballs.
He cleared his throat and said good morning. And the first question is, Caleb, are you afraid to compete? And how do you respond to people saying that you're worried to be compared side by side to your peers in medicals, measurements, and workouts? Are you afraid to be measured against those guys one-on-one? Is that why you're not doing things?
The juxtaposition, I want to replay. I'm going to fade it out after 2 seconds. Just the, how's everybody doing, to, are you afraid to compete? It's just such a funny 3 second.
Good morning, everybody.
Are you afraid to compete?
I love him cocking his head to lean closer. Like what does he say? Did he say what I thought he said?
He does. He gets closer. He tries to lean in closer to hear more of the question.
Caleb Williams is, politely saying hello, good morning, and he's getting that right in his face a second later. Yes. He can go on his own podcast, his own platforms, create his own platforms, and say whatever the hell he wants to say.
The Caleb one is funny because that just feels like an eager journalist trying to get it. He's like, if I don't get in now, I'm not going to get a question in, but it's just such a funny way to start a press conference.
It is brutal when a guy is trying to be nice about things, but I'm curious whether you guys think either of the things matter that I'm about to tell you. That Caleb Williams declined to do some of the testing, or on the other end, that he stayed till the end of everything and thanked all the volunteers for helping putting on the scouting combine. Do either of those things matter in any kind of way? Really?
I mean, not competing matters to me more. We're not drafting on politeness.
When you're supposed to be the first pick, why would you take any of these tests? You can only go down.
Didn't the Washington Pro Day produce the fastest 40 times that we saw? Like the Washington Pro Day, wasn't that the place that, like, why do you have to go compete with these other guys just because the NFL wants you to compete with these other guys when you're going to be the number one pick, whether you do any of that stuff or not? Like,
that's why we have pro days, Dan. Like, I'll throw on my time, not on your time. I don't want to go. Maybe I don't like the house that Peyton built, and I can throw on my own turf.
Well, wait, hold on a second. Imagine if you're interviewing for a job and the interviewer is like, hey, can you come and meet me? And you're like, no, on Zoom. Come to my house when I feel like it. No, thank you.
That's exactly what quarterbacks do.
I mean, if you're going to be the number one pick, whether you interview or not, normally when I go interview for a job, I'm trying to impress that person because I have fewer options than Caleb Williams has.
What was your last job
When's the
interview?
last time you've interviewed
we
for
all
a
were
job?
thinking it.
I mean, seriously.
What year?
Never.
Ever?
I mean, I just gave you the job.
It would have probably been internship. Probably would have been when I was an intern at the Miami Herald. Knock it off, Jessica. Late 1980s would have been the last time I interviewed for a job.
Well, the thing about the combine now is that some players have more leverage and they don't have to do all of these drills because at some point it will end up hurting you more than helping you. All of his tape is out there. He won the Heisman last year. Yeah, he's going to be the first pick overall. I guess maybe there's a question of if the Bears take him or if someone trades for him, but why would he need to do any of this? It's very silly.
It looks like you're hiding something, though, no? Doesn't
No,
it?
it doesn't.
Wow. It doesn't?
I don't think
then
so.
Then go compete. If you're that great, if you're that talented, show everyone how talented you are.
You've seen my tape. I've done it in game. I don't need to put on tights and go run for you.
There is somebody on Twitter, a former NFL scout, who says the following, Stugotz. Caleb Williams poses the greatest threat to the NFL's infrastructure that I've ever seen in a prospect, with all the documented examples of him putting himself above the team and process. Carl Williams, Caleb's dad, is desperately trying to manipulate the process and get his son to drop in the draft because of his documented disdain for the process, as written about in The Athletic. Quote, Carl has questioned the NFL rookie wage scale, the draft declaration deadline, eligibility rules, medical testing, and the way players are paid. In a September interview with GQ, he expressed disdain for the entire draft process, where the worst possible team, the worst organization in the league, because of their desire for parity, gets the first pick. I saw that Dominique Foxworth said, among other things, that the draft is un-American. It is in terms of freedom, or what we think of America, but in terms of exploiting human beings.
America loves it.
Oh, that's very American.
Quintessentially American, this one. But you do understand why it is that Caleb Williams and his dad would create some fear, because this former scout was saying that he either way, I have a 4th-round grade on him after studying every single snap he's taken the past 2 seasons, and he's an elite athlete who's underdeveloped as a quarterback. All of the NFL insiders, Adam Schefter will be on with us later, all of the NFL insiders say that Caleb Williams is going number 1 to the Bears. There's no one who's saying anything else, correct?
I think the leverage also comes from, if you're Caleb Williams, like, how stupid will a team feel for not drafting you? And the Bears have been in this position before where they traded up to get Mitch Trubisky while Patrick Mahomes was available. And this is an organization, different front office now, of course, but this is an organization that has been ridiculed for years for passing on a generational talent when they had the ability to pick them. Although, obviously, Patrick Mahomes was a way more disputed pick in that draft. Like, Caleb Williams, like you said, is almost universally the number 1 overall quarterback in this draft.
Caleb's dad makes a lot of great points when it comes to the draft and just how things work in the process of the NFL and rookies. What if Caleb Williams goes in and just makes a mockery of the combine, runs a slow 40, throws bad, does everything terrible, flunks the combine.
To slide.
Just like throws the football in the wrong direction.
Right. He's like, hey, here you go. This is what I'm doing.
To get to the Niners.
Draft me or no.
Keeps fumbling snaps.
Just toy with the system. What can I do here and still get drafted first overall?
I'd like to go to that photograph, if we could, that still, Stugotz, because I was floored. Like, we know that sport is incredibly hard and physical, right? We know that. Did you read the reports this weekend that Darren Waller was thinking at the end of last season that he wanted to retire at the end of last season and is still contemplating retirement? The Giants will do that to you. How it felt to play for the Giants when they're sitting there playing with Tommy DeVito, and Darren Waller's like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore because of the way that his body hurts. But the way these guys are moving at the combine and the size of these human beings, Stugotz, continues to be something that is breathtaking. Look at this photograph right here. Like, I mean, look, those are normal-sized human beings in a press conference setting asking Caleb Williams all sorts of ridiculous, challenging questions that he doesn't deserve.
Is that Hal Habib taking the picture in front of him? I know it's a random name.
Of the Palm Beach Post. Now, he is tiny.
The guy in front with the white shirt, he's like 3 feet shorter than him.
Hal Habib is not a normal-sized human being.
The fact that Dan knew who you were talking about is a major upset. I mean,
everyone knows Hal Habib.
Really? Nobody knows him.
That is the guy who verifies that Greg Cody came very close to once making a 50-yard field goal.
Confirmed that is Hal Habib, by the way. I know that head.
Okay, he is a tiny human being then. He is. These are not all normal-sized human beings.
He's below this guy's nipples.
Undersized human being.
It is a bit nuts, is it not? Like, what it is that you're trying to measure at these combines when you're talking about these wingspans, this size, this speed. That, by the way, is Georgia tackle. It's an offensive tackle, Amarius, is it Mims? And he's going to go high because how does anyone get past that? He's 340 pounds and there's no fat on him.
Solid muscle.
Because he's going against guys that are that size, not the size of Hal
Nobody's
Habib,
that
or
size.
whatever his name is.